How do you see the advance of hybrid cars and electric cars in the motorsport?
I think it's the future right now. We have to...
Is this the past, what we're seeing today, petrol engines and stuff like that?
No, I don't think it's the past, but I do think that the integration of new systems, if I go back, motorsport has always been about being more efficient in a way. That's whether
it's about speed.
It's about speed, it's about reliability, it's about not stopping in the pits for fuel. When we came from petrol to diesel in 2006, we gained about 10% on fuel economy, and that was a big advancement. So as a Scotsman, I had 10% more money in my pocket. Then you look at hybrid systems, and you look at the fact that in the world, now there is a big push for clean energy. And that, if you look
beyond
at...
the push,
but hold on.
motorsport.
Yeah, but hold on.
Okay.
You look at California, and they've got regulations that are very strict on their emissions. Now, motorsport has always been the leader of developing technology, for the simple reason is that you have a race every 2-3 weeks, and you've got to improve every 2-3 weeks. So if your system doesn't work, if your engine isn't good enough, if your tyres aren't good enough, you have to improve in that time period. And so the development is much, much quicker. That is the reason why the manufacturers started in motorsport, and it's the reason they're still in motorsport. It's not just marketing. It is about that development of technology, especially at Le Mans. And I think that what we've seen is the integration of the technologies in the race car. So, I take now our hybrid system, which is harvested off the front axle. It's stored in a flywheel, distributed to the front axle. At the same time, the V6 diesel, which is getting smaller and lighter every year, is putting the power through the rear axle. The two systems have to work together. And that's exactly the same in the road cars.
So you think hybrid is the future, or just a stage? It's just one stage to go through?
Look, everything's one stage to go through. We've seen a big change in 2005, which is less than 10 years ago. No one believed there would be a diesel engine winning Le Mans.
And now you have a hybrid.
We've got a hybrid engine and diesel, and you've got other things coming as well. And so I think what that happened when Buhnici came with the diesel engine in 06, I think it opened up people's minds. There are alternatives to standard gasoline petrol engine cars. FIA even thought that. They said immediately that Formula One had to be more connected, more green, more in line with what the world needed. And so for me, it's clearly a step. What the future holds, we'll see. But right now, I think it's been a big change in a very short time of what we thought was possible.
So next it's hybrid and then it's electric?
I'm not saying that. I don't know what the next part is. Electric's got to prove itself.
How?
Well, first of all, it's got to be better than what we have.
It's not yet?
No, clearly it's not.
Why?
I'm a racing driver. I press the pedals and turn the steering wheel. I don't engineer it. But what
Is it because of the batteries? Is it because
I don't know. I'm not an engineer. You have to ask an engineer that. Sorry, but you're asking me to answer a question I can't answer. What I can tell you is that right now, electric is not capable of winning a race like Le Mans. So therefore, if it's not capable of winning a race like Le Mans, it isn't what we need right now.
Because it doesn't have the endurance.
You have to ask someone that does the electric. We don't do electric. We've got a hybrid system. So I'm sorry, I really can't answer you that.
It's good. But in terms of motorsport, efficiency on the track, getting that perfect timing and beating everyone else, would you go for a much better electric or a much better hybrid or a much better diesel?
I'd go for the fastest one. You're asking the wrong guy. Honestly, I would go for the fastest one, and the fastest one for me is the one that takes me from A to B. So 2014, I would go for an Audi R18, a V6 single turbo engine with a hybrid system with 2 megajoules, because that won the 24 Hours of Le Mans. That was the fastest from A to B. I'll take that one, thank you. Sorry.
No, it's good. In terms, you're saying the evolution is very fast now. Everything is changing very quick. What do you see in the next 10 years? Can you look into your, crystal ball? Don't you have any?
I think the next, personally, and this is not an Audi point of view, this is a personal point of view, I think the next 4 or 5 years will be integrations of systems. So what we have already, what we know already, but integrating new systems and making them efficient and work together. And that will be on the racetrack, and it will probably be on the road. What happens in the future, I don't know. I saw in a magazine just last night actually, about a hydrogen car that is looking to be raced, which is something that we heard about in the American Le Mans series 4 or 5 years ago.
Okay.
And it'd be interesting to see what happens there. Full electric. Nissan came with and tried to do a full electric lap of Le Mans, and they achieved it, but not at the pace that they need to. So, that's maybe something for the future. But right now, we look in the next 2 or 3 years, because I think the evolution is very, very quick.
Okay. If you were to switch today from a normal car to something brand new, what's the difference in driving the car? Because the electric cars are being, you drive them a little different. Is it very different?
I've never driven an electric car. I drove it, so I don't really know. What I do know is that instant torque needs a different driving style. It also probably, in terms of from the tyre manufacturer's point of view, from a racing side, it needed a different tyre completely. When we went from petrol to diesel, where we had a big increase in torque, we needed to have a different construction and compounds of rear tyre especially, and then the front tyre to work with it, because the loading into the tyre was extremely aggressive, instant and high.
But they say, the guys in Michelin, they say they're ready for that. So
well, I'm pretty
are the
sure,
pilots
because
ready?
I don't think any electric car on the street will have 1500 Newton meters of torque, so I think they're probably very well covered.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can we say generally that the tire is still needed, and the future still it's in the tires of racing?
Again, if you take a whole car from front to back, and the tyre's important in that. We've tested, when we go tyre testing, when we go tyre testing, we've got maybe 20 different philosophies in there, whether it be compound and construction, and we find that there's rolling resistance, and in Le Mans that's very important. You want the least rolling resistance, but you still need the grip in the corner, and that balance between the rolling resistance, which gives you straight line speed, or reduces, if you've got low rolling resistance, it increases your straight line speed, but it also helps your fuel economy. And so therefore there is a big factor in there. It's not just about the tyre for the cornering speed, it's about the other things. And the other area that we work quite hard on, and it's something I don't know how, to be honest, how Michelin's done it, but in terms of reducing punctures, because in Le Mans a puncture is very serious, because we're doing 300, punctures happen at the highest speed. So the highest speed is 330 kilometers per hour, and that speed of puncture can create a lot of damage. And in that way as well, at Le Mans there's little stones, and there's a lot of people going through the gravel, and the stones can create punctures, and thankfully we've now for quite a few years had basically no problems with that. And that's another area where I think that the tyre is critical.
How important is the relationship as a pilot, the team behind the pilot and the tire manufacturer has on the track?
How much of a difference does it make?
Yeah, but I'll go back. My father, when I was a little boy in karting, he told me it doesn't matter how much power you've got, if you wheel spin and don't put it on the ground, it's wasted. And all the time, Serge is the guy at Audi that we work very close with. And Serge, first of all, he understands our car. Second of all, he understands the drivers. So he knows when I get in the car and it's a qualifying lap, I always wanted the front tyre pressures just boosted that little bit, that 0.05 of a bar, because he knew how I like to attack the first braking and attack the first corner. Now that's different. Andre Lotterer's here, and Andre likes it in a different way. And so the engineer has to understand and work with the car in that feel, and he's got a sensational feel. At a pit stop, when we come in after the first stop, he's there with a torch and he looks at the back of the tyre. And from there, that 2-second view of the tyre, he will make an instant judgment to change or not. And so therefore we rely totally on Serge's view, 100% on that. And so far, I have to say, we've had a fantastic collaboration at Audi. And me personally, because my first time in sports cars was 1997. And all of my sports car career I raced on Michelins. And I found that there was the professionalism of the team, the professionalism of the engineers, the technical capability was without doubt number one. And I can only say that the engineer development side of things and the understanding is one of the key parts, because the tyre puts the power on the ground.
I have one more question for you. Do you find any Michelin developed in racing technology accommodating a common car, your personal, let's say, car? Do you think, do you feel how we transfer the technology from the track to the road?
Well, you do it for a reason, and that's something that's clear, is that you've always gone into competition where there has been competition. You know, when one make formula came out in Formula One, you decided to step back from it. Le Mans, you've got the open format. When you came with different styles and things, that clearly goes forward. Talking about electric cars, Michelin says they've got it covered. Well, they've got the experience from the diesel and the torque and everything that they can transfer that philosophy, not that tyre exactly, but the understanding and the experience into it. Where I'm going to be interested is what you do with the slick intermediate tyres we have. Because that, when you say about it's not something that necessarily can transfer to the road, but it is something that can transfer to other things as well. We've got an intermediate tyre, which is basically, it's got no grooves, no cuts, nothing. It's, when you look at it next to a slick tyre, it's a slick. When it goes on the car, you feel worried because it's a slick and you see the rain outside. And then you drive out the pit lane and you very gently, the first time you press the brake and you turn the steering, and then it grips, and then your mind forgets that it's a slick inter, but it actually then grips, and then you can use it like it was a real old-fashioned intermediate tyre. And that's something that without doubt is not able to go onto the road because of legal road use at the moment, but you never know what it'll do in the future. You don't, and that's the side where I'm interested where that technology goes, and that's just one section of it.
Okay, so you're looking at the future without grooves.
You never know. It's possible. Okay, I live in Scotland. You probably need snow tyres, so if you can get studs into them, then that would be a perfect balance.